In Chapter 2, Clusters of History, U.S. Involvement in the Palestine Question, provides a detailed examination of the various historical forces that have shaped American policy in the Middle East, particularly regarding Israel and Palestine. The author presents 5 distinct legacies or clusters that, when fused together, explains the complexities and contradictions in U.S. policy toward the region. The first legacy explored is the influence of Christian Zionism on U.S. policy. This legacy is rooted in the 19th century evangelical movement, which believed that the return of Jews to Palestine would precipitate the second coming of Christ. Key figures like William Blackstone and Cyrus Scofield played pivotal roles in popularizing these ideas, which have had a lasting impact on American support for Israel. The theological underpinning of this legacy is linked to a vision that sees the return of Jews to their biblical homeland as part of a divine plan, a belief that has been deeply ingrained in American evangelical Christianity. The second legacy comes from the King Crane Commission of 1919, which was tasked with assessing the aspirations of the people in the Levant after World War I. The commission found that the local population opposed the Balfour Declaration and the establishment of a Jewish homeland in Palestine. However, their report was ignored by the major powers, leading to the eventual establishment of British and French mandates in the region. This legacy highlights the early U.S. involvement in the Middle East that was more aligned with local aspirations but was ultimately sidelined by European colonial interest. The third legacy examines the rise of ethnic politics in the U.S. and the establishment of the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, or AIPAC. This legacy illustrates how ethnic identity and lobbying have shaped American foreign policy, particularly the pro-Israel stance. Figures like Fiorello LaGuardia and Isaiah Keenan were instrumental in mobilizing Jewish American support for Israel, leading to the creation of AIPAC, which has become a powerful force in American politics, particularly in shaping U.S. policy toward Israel. The fourth legacy focuses on the role of oil and the economic interests of American corporations in the Middle East. The Five Sisters refers to the major American oil companies that secured concessions in the region in the early 20th century. The pursuit of oil has been driving force behind U.S. involvement in the Middle East, often leading to policies that prioritize economic interests over political or moral considerations. This legacy underscores the tension between the U.S. need for stable oil supplies and its support for Israel, which has often been seen as a destabilizing factor in the region. The final legacy discussed is the influence of realist and neo-realist theories on U.S. foreign policy. Pioneers like Hans Morgenthau and Kenneth Waltz argue that foreign policy should be based on cost-benefit calculations and the balance of power, rather than ideological or moral considerations. This legacy has informed U.S. policy in the Middle East, particularly in its approach to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, where the focus has often been on managing the conflict rather than resolving its root causes. The author suggests that this approach has led to a persistent neglect of the Palestinian perspective and a failure to address the core issues of the conflict, such as the refugee problem. The chapter concludes that these 5 legacies have collectively shaped a U.S. policy that is overwhelmingly supportive of Israel, often at the expense of broader regional stability and the rights of the Palestinian people. However, the author also hints at the possibility of change, noting that history is not a linear progression but a series of discrete processes that can lead to unexpected outcomes. The ongoing influence of these legacies suggests that US policy will continue to be shaped by a complex interplay of religious beliefs, ethnic politics, economic interest, and strategic calculations.